Eric Muathe with Muathe.com. Let's take a look at the chart for AutoZone, AZO, between 1997 and 2001. And here we have a good example of why the breakout strategy works. As you can see, the stock had moved from about $21 to the highs here of 39. Why in the world would anybody be looking to buy it around here? And let me discuss that with you here. Number one, the reason is because once the stock cleared this monthly closing high here, it means that it has the appetite for higher prices. And in fact, we can see that one could have also used this breakout, this previous monthly closing high, as an entry. That was another option. But the earliest buy point actually comes here when it breaks out to fresh 52-week highs above the monthly closing high. So this monthly closing high becomes the level to watch. Once it clears it, then the trade is live. And why was the trade live at that point? We have to take a look at what the RSI was doing, and this is more than 3 years monthly chart. And you can see that during this breakout here, the RSI was also moving to 3-year highs, which met one of our minimum requirements based on the playlists that you can take a look at. If you want to see what those minimum requirements are, you can either take a look at either of these playlists here on my channel on YouTube. And if we go take a look at the rest of the chart here, we can see that the MACDs also did meet the minimum requirements. So for sure, if you take a look at this time period here, you got the minimum requirements. RSI jumps to 3-year highs, and we can see at least one of the MACDs also jumps to 3-year highs. So you got minimum requirements met. In fact, we can take a look here. You see that the default MACD was close to 3-year highs, but we have one of the MACDs, which is the minimum requirement, and then we have the RSI moving to 3-year highs. That's all you needed to be part of the breakout. And the earliest breakout that I can see here on hindsight was this breakout here. And once it broke out, you can see that the reason why people play breakouts, or traders like the breakout strategy, is because the momentum now flips. And you can see here on hindsight, the stock had a good chance of seeing higher prices, and that is exactly what happened. In fact, if we zoom out a little bit more, we can see that from the lows here of about $6, the stock was now trading at 39 after almost 10 years. And so what we are talking about here is it finally clears this range here. In essence, it clears this sideways action and goes potentially into a new phase. And that's why breakouts make sense, because now you've cleared this zone or this box trading here, which was good enough to hold the stock over a period of about 5 years. We're talking about from 96 finally to breaking out here towards late 2001. That's so many years, but finally it clears that level. And something else the stock does is it also moves above this RSI resistance lines. And I'll show you how this becomes relevant. So this line was the resistance on the RSI going back to 94. And this line was resistance for almost 7 years. Finally, we see a breakout, and that breakout is also coinciding with the price breakout. So this RSI breakout coincides with the price breakout there. And this is all taking place in 2001. Price range there in the higher 30s. Let's fast forward, and now this is 16 years later. Of course, nobody's gonna own the entire move, but for illustration purposes, of course, here we can see the breakout we were discussing was somewhere right there, 38, trading here in the 800s. We can see the breakout line that we drew previously. So this line here coincides with this price movement there. Now you see this breakout here becomes relevant because what happens is after that breakout level, which happens to be around RSI 50, also becomes support. So let me just draw it like that. You can see that over the years that has also become support. We're talking about this breakout level, which here happens to be at about RSI 50. Every time the stock has come back to this line with uniform activity, it has made major lows and would move higher on a month-to-month basis. You can test this. Here is a double bottom for the lows there. We hit that level for the lows there. We hit that level around RSI 50 for the lows there. Stock's been higher since. And also we can generally say this, that level above RSI 50, so we're talking about this level here, has generally meant that the stock has been bullish. So in other words, the stock holding above RSI 50 on the monthly has been also a good visual tell that this momentum was still good. One other observation which is relevant in the current market is the most recent breakout takes place here. And this breakout here, beginning part of 2000 and let's call it 2010, RSI breaks out. It's a good entry there. Take a look at this movement. Since then, this breakout level has been relevant. You can see here, we tag this, we come to the line, hold with uniform activity for the lows there, which was successful lows, and of course it went on to record higher levels. And also we can see that over the last couple of months it's come back to the same line, and we seem to be forming a nice double bottom, or have already formed a nice double bottom, which might be the reason why the stock came off the lows here over the last couple of months. So there's a lot one can learn from these charts just by studying them, because this types of thing tends to repeat itself. Let's take a look at this from a closer view, just to highlight this double bottom here and here. And so here is the most recent yearly monthly data, and we can see that it shows now the breakout from a closer perspective. Broke out there. That breakout is good enough for this entry there, which was successful. We draw a line from here, and you can see that uniform activity support for the re-entry there. Very successful, because after that monthly low it went on higher, and then over the last couple of months we've come back to the same line. How the market remembers this is interesting, because I don't know, but it does seems to have a tremendous amount of memory. Double bottom support here for the most recent monthly closing lows. Now this video would not be complete if we did not take a quick look at this amazing run since about 2010 and see where that run began in terms of our minimum requirements. All right, so in terms of our minimum requirements based on this method here, let's take a look at that. And so to figure that out, we have to go find out where the stock makes a 3-year high. So we have to go somewhere about there. In fact, we can even draw it higher. So let me do that. Let's take a look at, so it moves to 3-year highs from middle 2007. So somewhere there. That's where we see the move to 3-year highs. At the same time, the stock is moving above 69.1, which is one of our minimum requirements. So there is our minimum requirement number 1. We see that that coincides with a price breakout right there. And let's take a look at what the MACDs were doing. Alright, so we're talking about this period here. Let me change that a little bit. Let's change that so we can capture that level right there. Right there. That's the time frame we are looking at. Alright. You know, maybe I should move that just a tad bit. So this is a time frame right there. All right, that window. All right, so we can see the RSI jumps to 3-year highs, which is what we want. Minimum requirement met. Prices jump to multi-year all-time highs, which is sign of momentum, sign of a newfound intention to move higher. That coincides with the MACD moving to 3-year highs. In fact, both MACDs, the small time frame MACD or the small setting MACD and the default MACD, they all jump to 3-year highs, if not all-time highs. And since then, the stock has gone on a major run. Keep in mind that this breakout here to 3-year highs on the RSI coincides, very important. We understand that it coincides with the movement above 69.1, which is a sign of momentum, sign of strength. And that's why stock has done well since then. Also, just to finish this, take a look at this RSI bounce at RSI 50. Generally, when you see an instrument come off highs, pull back, show support on the RSI 50 line, it means it's going to be going to fresh highs, which is what it does there. Even here we can see it jumped to uniform activity at the RSI 50 level for the lows there. It went to new highs. Double bottom support here for the lows there. Ultimately it holds and it would eventually go to new highs. Took a while. And even here we can see it holds RSI 50 level, eventually goes to new highs. So here we've taken a look at some of the characteristics of what can be called a dream stock. And a dream stock for sure, over the last, let's call it 27 years or so, moving here from $8 and over a period of many years, gradually having a major, massive return. There's a lot more, but let's just stop right there. Again, Eric Muathe, Muathe.com, taking a look at some of the characteristics of winning trading instruments. Good luck, peace, and blessings. E-A-C-S. Woo!